Have you ever rushed through breakfast, grabbed whatever you could for lunch, and thrown together dinner in a bad mood, only to collapse at night wondering why your life still feels empty and chaotic? Have you ever thought that real spiritual practice only happens in temples, meditation halls, or retreats, while your own kitchen is just a battlefield of dirty dishes and unfinished chores? Welcome back to the channel, my friend. I am really happy you are here. Today we are going to look at something you touch every single day, but probably never really see as a spiritual path: food. Your kitchen, your stove, the way you eat and cook. We are going to explore a simple but powerful idea: 3 meals a day can become 3 rounds of deep practice. Every time you cook, you can either strengthen impatience, anger, and greed, or you can awaken mindfulness, compassion, and the heart of a bodhisattva. The teaching behind this episode says something that might sound almost unbelievable at first. It says that you do not need to escape to a mountain cave to practice. You do not need to leave your family and hide in a monastery to walk the bodhisattva path. If you know how to use it, your own kitchen, your daily shopping, washing, cutting, cooking, and eating can become a powerful field of training. The way you cook is the way you love. The way you eat is the way you treat the world. And the vows you make over your cutting board can quietly reprogram your karma and your destiny. So in this long, storytelling style talk, we are going to walk into this ordinary world together. We will step into an everyday kitchen, into the stress and mess, and slowly uncover a hidden temple hiding under piles of vegetables and pots. We will talk about intention, gratitude, cause and effect, compassion, and the bodhisattva spirit, all through something as simple as rice, soup, and tea. Imagine someone like this. Her name is Julia. She wakes up at 6:30 because her alarm tells her she has exactly 90 minutes to get herself ready, get 2 kids out the door, and maybe swallow some breakfast if she is lucky. The morning starts like a race. She stumbles into the kitchen, opens the fridge, and feels a small wave of irritation. The milk is almost finished. The bread is not as fresh as she hoped. Someone left an almost empty jar of peanut butter in the cupboard. She sighs loudly. In her head, the commentary begins. Why is everything on me? No one helps. I go to work too. I am not a machine. Every day, this kitchen looks like a war zone. I hate cooking. I hate mornings. She throws some bread into the toaster, cracks a couple of eggs into the pan, and snaps at her sleepy child. Hurry up, you are going to be late again. Why can you never move faster? The child, half awake, feels the sharpness in her voice and shrinks a little inside. They eat quickly, barely tasting the food. The television is on in the background. Phones rest beside plates. Everyone is physically at the same table, but mentally, they are in different worlds. By the time the door closes behind the last family member, the kitchen is full of dirty dishes, crumbs, and the echo of tension. Julia looks around, exhausted, and mutters, "One day I am just going to stop doing all this." Then she goes to work, carrying the frustration of the morning. Lunch is a quick bite at her desk. She scrolls her phone with one hand and eats with the other. She barely notices the taste. Her body is supposed to be refueling, but her nervous system stays on high alert, full of news, notifications, and comparisons. Dinner is more of the same, but heavier. After a long day at work and dealing with traffic, she opens her front door and walks straight into another battlefield. Shoes scattered, bags dropped on chairs. Someone left a plate in the sink from the afternoon. Her mind starts again. Of course, I go out, work all day, and come home to this. What do they think I am? Some sort of servant? She clatters pots and pans around loudly enough for everyone to hear her mood. When someone asks what is for dinner, she replies with a sarcastic, "Whatever I can throw together before collapsing." The children sense the storm and stay away. Her partner senses it too and scrolls silently on the sofa, hoping not to become the target. At the table, the food is there, the nutrients are there, but the emotion in the room is sour. Later, lying in bed, Julia scrolls through social media and sees photos of beautifully plated meals, smiling families, glowing posts about gratitude. She sighs and thinks, I am really not a very spiritual person. Other people seem so loving and peaceful. My life is just one long chore. Now let us pause here. If you look at Julia's day as most people do, you might say, she has no time for practice. She has work, children, cooking, cleaning. Real spiritual life will have to wait until she is older, or until she has more free time. But from the perspective of deep wisdom, someone might look at exactly the same day and say, her whole life is a practice hall. Her kitchen is her main altar. She just does not know it yet. Picture another person, same city, similar schedule. His name is David. He also wakes at 6:30. He also has a family. He also has a kitchen that sometimes looks like a chaos experiment. He also has bills and deadlines. The outer conditions are not dramatically different. The difference is in how he uses his 3 daily meals. When his feet touch the floor in the morning, before he reaches for his phone, he takes one breath and thinks, I have one more day of life. This body is still moving. Today, may I turn even ordinary things into practice. In the kitchen, he also opens the fridge and finds that the milk is low. He also notices the almost empty jar of peanut butter. For a moment, the same irritation flickers. But then something else appears: memory. He remembers a teaching he once heard: the kitchen is a temple. The stove is an altar. The food is an offering. The cook is a bodhisattva in training. That sentence pops into his mind like a small bell. He looks at the egg in his hand and thinks, this did not appear from nowhere. There is a chicken, a farmer, a truck driver, a store clerk, a whole chain of causes and conditions. This egg is not just food. It is life energy that has traveled a long way to be in my hand right now. Instead of muttering complaints, he silently says, thank you to all the hands that brought this to us. Thank you for another morning where I can cook for my family. Does he suddenly feel like a saint, glowing with light? No, he is still sleepy. He is still a bit annoyed at the mess, but his heart has turned a few degrees. As the oil heats in the pan, he makes a quiet wish in his mind. May this breakfast give my children energy not only to run and play, but also to grow in kindness and wisdom. May they feel cared for. May anyone who eats this food be a little more patient, a little less angry today. He cracks the eggs. The sound is the same as in Julia's kitchen, but the intention behind it is different. He calls the children with a voice that is firm but not sharp. When they drag their feet, he still feels impatient. He might say, come on, we are going to be late. But he catches the urge to insult or belittle them. At the table, before rushing to eat, he pauses for 2 seconds and says softly, thank you for this food. Thank you for another morning together. Maybe the kids roll their eyes. Maybe they mumble thank you half-throatedly. It does not matter. His main job is not to force their mood, but to offer his own heart. At lunch, he might still eat at his desk, but Instead of scrolling the whole time, he gives himself 5 mindful bites. 5 bites where he actually tastes the food, feels the chewing, notices the warmth in his stomach, and whispers in his mind, "May this energy be used for something wholesome this afternoon. May my work benefit someone." At dinner, after a tiring day, he enters the same kind of messy kitchen. The first wave of grumbling thoughts rises. Why can't they put things away? Then he remembers another teaching: every plate you wash is also washing your mind. Every grain of rice you rinse is a chance to rinse some greed, anger, and ignorance out of your heart. He takes a breath. He still calls the family to help. He is not a doormat, but instead of slamming things, unsulking, he says, "Hey, I am tired too. Let us do this together so we can eat sooner." As he chops vegetables, he silently repeats a simple vow: "May this meal be an offering to my family and to all beings who are hungry." As I cut, may I also cut through some of my impatience and self-centeredness. As I stir, may I stir up more compassion in this home. Outside, it looks like a person cooking. Inside, Bodh Histafa is being born, slice by slice, stir by stir. Now, you might say, that sounds nice in a story, but in real life, I am too tired to think like that. Here is the beautiful part: you do not need to be perfect from day one. You do not need to turn every single grain of rice into a holy object. You only need to begin somewhere, with small, sincere shifts. The difference between Julia and David is not that one has chores and the other does not. It is that one sees those chores as pure burden, and the other sees them as a path. From the perspective of karma and destiny, that difference is enormous. When you cook in anger, you are not only feeding your family physical food, you are also feeding them your emotional energy. They might not be able to name it, but they can taste it in the air. The kitchen becomes a place of tension. Children grow up associating food with stress. When you repeatedly fill your kitchen with this kind of energy, your home becomes a field where impatience and resentment grow easily. Those are karmic seeds. Over years, they bear fruit as more arguments, more distance, more coldness. When you cook with even a small amount of mindful gratitude and aspiration, you change the field. The same act of frying, boiling, baking, and washing becomes a daily ritual of offering. You are training patience as you wait for the pot to boil. You are training generosity as you choose the better part of the dish for someone else. You are training compassion as you remember people who do not have enough to eat. Those are also karmic seeds. Over years, they bear fruit as more warmth in your relationships, more trust, more unseen blessings. The teaching from the original text says that this is great Bodh Histafa, a practice for householders. Why? Because a Bodh Histafa is not defined by how many scriptures they can quote, but by how much they are willing to use their entire life to benefit others. A monastic may serve beings through teaching, chanting, and keeping a temple running. A householder can serve beings through turning every bowl of soup, every plate of noodles, every cup of tea into an act of love, an act of awakening. Think about the meals you remember most from your childhood. Maybe there was a bowl of noodle soup your mother made when you were sick. Maybe there was a simple pot of porridge your grandmother stirred before dawn. Maybe there was a rice dish your father cooked once in a while that everyone waited for. If you close your eyes and remember those meals, what makes them precious? Is it the ingredients? Is it the perfect seasoning? Or is it the feeling that someone cared? That someone put their time and energy into feeding you, into keeping you alive and warm? That feeling is what a bodhisattva cook is consciously cultivating. The bodhisattva cook does not ask, "How can I show off my skills?" They ask, "How can this meal carry kindness into their bodies and minds?" They do not think, "I am such a victim. No one sees my work." They think, "This is my offering. The Buddha has statues on the altar. I have these living beings at my table. I can serve them from the same heart." You might say, "But my family is ungrateful. They complain about the food. They do not appreciate my effort. Why should I think such noble thoughts when they act like that?" This is where practice becomes real. If everyone praised you, thanked you, and bowed to you every time you cooked, your ego would grow fat. You would cook not to serve, but to be admired. When you cook for people who sometimes complain, sometimes ignore your work, you have a real chance to practice unconditional giving. You can feel your ego bristling. They do not deserve this. You can then breathe and ask, "Can I give anyway?" Not because they are perfect, but because I want to train my own heart. It does not mean you allow constant disrespect. You can still set healthy boundaries, ask for help, and communicate your needs. But inside, the question shifts from "How can I get recognition?" to "How can I grow my capacity to give?" That inner movement is the core of the bodhisattva path. Now let us look closer at the idea of making vows while cooking. In many traditions, when people offer food on a shrine, they recite verses like, "May all beings be equally nourished. May this offering reduce greed and increase wisdom." A household bodhisattva can use similar words in the middle of chopping onions. Imagine yourself in your kitchen, knife in hand, cutting vegetables. Your mind might be chattering about work, gossip, or worries. What if, instead, every time your knife goes down, you pair it with a simple thought? "As I cut these vegetables, may all beings be cut free from suffering." When you wash rice, you can think, "As I wash this rice, may my own mind be washed of arrogance and resentment." When you stir a pot, you can think, "As I stir this soup, may the energy of love and understanding be stirred up in this home." When you arrange plates on the table, you can think, "May everyone who sits here feel that they belong, feel that they are seen." At first, it might feel awkward or even silly. Your mind might say, "What is the point? The rice will cook the same whether you think these things or not." But in terms of inner transformation, the point is huge. Vows are like spiritual programming. They guide your attention and shape your future reactions. If you repeat these small vows day after day, they sink into your subconscious. In a moment of conflict, instead of only thinking, "How can I win this argument?" another thought might emerge. "How can I reduce suffering right now?" That thought is a fruit of all the seeds you planted in front of your stove. The kitchen becomes not only a place where you feed your family, but a place where you feed your bodhisattva aspiration. Let us look at an example. There is a man named Jorge who used to hate cooking. He saw it as a waste of time. He preferred eating out or ordering in. When his wife grew tired and asked him to help more, he would reluctantly throw something together, grumbling the whole time. One day, he attended a talk where a teacher said, "Every time you cook for your family, you are shaping your future life. If you cook with greed and anger, you are cooking future suffering. If you cook with generosity and awareness, you are cooking future blessings." That sentence hit him hard. He thought about his own childhood. His mother had cooked daily for him, often after long hours at work, and he had rarely thanked her. Now he had a chance to change something in his own line of karma. He started small. The next time he cooked, He turned off the television for a few minutes and tried to really be present. He remembered his mother's hands, his wife's tired face, his children's laughter. He whispered, "May this food carry my gratitude to them." He still burned things sometimes. He still got annoyed. But something softened. Months later, when his wife fell sick and could not cook for several weeks, the kitchen did not collapse. He stepped in, not as a resentful victim, but as a trained Histopha. He said to himself, "This is my time to serve. May this illness be lighter for her because I can carry this part." His children saw this. They did not only receive food, they received a live demonstration of compassionate responsibility. Destiny shifted not through a lottery win or a new business deal, but through potatoes, soup, and scraped pans. Now, you might be thinking, this all sounds beautiful, but my reality is more complicated. I live alone, or I live in a shared apartment, or I barely cook. I just buy food. How does this apply to me? Good question. The heart of this teaching is not limited to family meals. It can be applied to any way you eat. If you live alone, your kitchen is still a temple. The way you prepare food for yourself reflects how you value your own life. Do you eat whatever is easiest? Standing up, scrolling your phone, throwing empty packaging in the trash with a sigh? Do you say, "It is only me, it does not matter"? Or do you sometimes choose to cook a simple meal with care, even if no one else will see it? Honoring your own body as a vessel of practice, you can still light a candle, even a small one, in your heart, and think, "May this food support me to live in a way that benefits others." If you often buy food, you can practice in the moment of choosing and receiving. When you stand in line, instead of complaining about the wait, you can look at the faces around you and silently wish, "May everyone here have enough to eat. May no one go hungry tonight." When you open the package at home, you can pause for one breath and think, "Thank you to all the unseen workers behind this meal." If you eat in a cafeteria or restaurant, you can silently say to the cook, "May the person who prepared this food have less stress, less worry, more joy." These intentions do not take extra time. They take extra awareness. They turn eating from a mechanical act into a ritual of connection with all beings who grow, transport, cook, and share food, as well as those who do not have enough. This wider awareness slowly dissolves the illusion that you are a separate, isolated individual. You start to see yourself as part of an enormous web of life. Every grain of rice has a story. Every vegetable carries rain and soil in its cells. Every piece of bread holds the effort of farmers, millers, bakers. When you eat mindlessly, you cut yourself off from this miracle. When you eat mindfully, you naturally feel more gratitude and more responsibility. Gratitude, because you realize how many forces are working so that you can take this one bite. Responsibility, because you realize your choices affect others. How you buy, what you waste, how you treat those who serve you, all feed into this web. This is where daily meals connect directly with karma and compassion. The Bodhisattva path is not only about inner feelings, it is about outer actions. If your kitchen becomes a practice hall, you might start to waste less food because you see it. It is the fruit of many lives, not just an object. You might choose simpler meals so you can share more with those in need. You might think twice before buying more than you can eat, remembering that somewhere a child is going to bed hungry. Every time you do that, you are planting seeds for a gentler destiny, not just for yourself, but for the world. Now, let us come back to the emotional level. What about those days when you are so overwhelmed that any talk of sacred cooking makes you want to roll your eyes or cry? Those days are part of the path too. Real practice hall is not always peaceful. Sometimes it is noisy, messy, full of spilled soup and burned pans. On such days, the most honest vow you can make might be, I am exhausted. I do not feel noble at all. But may I at least not hurt anyone with my words while I cook tonight. That, too, is great practice. You might still feel irritation rising. You might still grumble. But if you can prevent one hurtful sentence from leaving your mouth, you have turned the stove into a place of restraint and kindness. Other days, you might catch yourself mid-minus complaint and laugh. You might think, there I go again, turning dinner into a drama. Let me breathe and start again. That moment of catching yourself is awareness. Awareness is the light that slowly transforms unconscious habits. You are not expected to be a perfect kitchen bodhisattva from day one. You are invited to be a sincere trainee, willing to turn again and again toward a more awakened way of cooking undeeding. Before we close, I want to paint one more picture for you. Imagine it is 10 or 20 years from now. Your child, or someone younger who has watched you, is living on their own. They are far away. One evening, after a long day, they are standing in their own kitchen, tired and hungry. They open the fridge, see a few basic ingredients, and instead of complaining, they smile a little. They remember how you used to cook. Maybe they remember your words. Maybe just your attitude. They take out a cutting board, breathe, and think, let me cook something simple and warm. May this food be good for me. May my parents, wherever they are, be well. May all who are eating dinner right now have enough. In that moment, whether you are alive or not, your kitchen practice is still moving through the world. Your small daily vows, your moments of patience, your choice to turn complaints into offerings, they have become part of another person's heart. This is how a householder bodhisattva transmits the Dharma without giving a single formal sermon. They transmit it through soup and rice, through the way they set a table, through the way their presence in the kitchen feels. So my friend, the next time you stand in your kitchen, whether it is big or tiny, sparkling or messy, I invite you to remember this. You are not just cooking. You are sculpting your character. You are offering your energy. You are shaping the emotional climate of your home. You are planting seeds in the hearts of everyone who eats your food, including yourself. You are quietly, humbly, walking a path that the great teachings describe as the bodhisattva way. Using your ordinary life can nourish awakening, wisdom, karma, compassion, practice, and destiny. If you have listened all the way to this point, thank you. It means there is already a bodhisattva seed in you that does not want to waste even one meal. Now I would love to hear from you. Can you remember one meal from your life that felt more than just eating? That felt like love, comfort, or even a kind of healing? Was it something a parent cooked, a friend brought when you were sick, or a dish you made for someone else? And what is one small change you are willing to make in your kitchen starting today? It could be a short gratitude thought before you eat, a quiet vow while you stir a pot, or simply the decision to say one less harsh word in the kitchen each day. Write your stories and intentions in the comments. You never know who might read them on a night when they feel overwhelmed by family chores and think they are failing at both life and practice. Your experience may help them see that they are already standing in a temple without knowing it. If this long script gave you a new way of seeing your kitchen, your meals, and your path, please support the channel. You can subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment. These simple actions help this kind of deep, heart-based content reach more people who are searching for a way to bring awakening into everyday life. If you feel called and are able, you can also consider joining as a channel member. Your support helps make it possible to keep creating long episodes like this, where we explore how ordinary moments can become doors to extraordinary inner transformation. Thank you for spending this time together. May your 3 daily meals become 3 daily chances to remember who you really want to be. May every grain of rice you touch remind you of the web of life you belong to. And may your kitchen, no matter how imperfect, gradually reveal itself as one of the greatest spiritual practice halls you will ever have. There comes a time when you realize you want something that belongs just to you, something that brings comfort and keeps you connected to your inner world. Wall-crafted bracelet does exactly that. Quietly, softly, and consistently. If you felt drawn to any bracelet in this video, you'll find the purchase link in the video description, and many more auctions in the channel's storefront. Because sometimes the smallest item can bring the biggest sense of peace.